This is a 2016 Mitsubishi Mirage. Its brakes started squealing, and in this video I'll show you what's the source of the squeal is and what's involved in a brake job, because the brake pads need to be replaced. The vehicle also has a flat tire, so in this case it's a 2-in-1. I'm not going into thorough detail how to work safely with a jack stand or axle stand and a scissor jack the vehicle comes with. And of course you need to remove the wheel and undo the lug nuts with the tool that comes with the vehicle. So that I'm not going to go into detail on that. The brake pads, once the wheel is removed, are part of the brake caliper. So I'm going to zoom in on this feature here. The brake caliper has been removed. It mounts with 2 bolts, and I'm just going to rest it here a little bit. The brake pads look like this. The source of the noise are these 2 circular features that are visible on clean and washed brake pads, and these 2 circular features. And this is the brake pad material itself that is mounted by the manufacturer, the brake pad manufacturer, not Mitsubishi, on this metal backing plate. 2 big rivets go through this backing plate in both cases. There's a rivet there, and there's another rivet there underneath this spring plate that's also mounted on it. And these 2 rivets come through and sandwich the abrasive brake pad material to the backing plate material. Okay, so these rivets here hold these 2 items together, the backing plate and the pad. Same here, pad, backing plate, rivets go through and they sandwich these 2 together. Now the service limit typically on brake pads is 3 millimeters of thickness. In this case it's 3.5 millimeters. I just measured it. The owner of the vehicle mentioned that this makes a squealy noise. The source of this squealy noise is that the rivets are showing through the brake pad material here. The rivet and the pad are sintered together, they're manufactured together. So when the brake pad is new and has about, I don't know, 8 millimeters of thickness, substantially more, the rivet, this is the rivet's head, the rivet's end is not showing through. As the brake pad wears away, it gets thinner, 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 thinner. At one point, in this case about 3.5 millimeters, the rivet shank shows through the brake pad, starts squealing, and it needs to be replaced. In this case, there are 82,000 kilometers on the vehicle. I don't know when these were changed, and I don't know how long they lasted, but brake service is recommended at 80,000 kilometers. There is a reason for it. So people, please follow your service manual or owner's manual's recommendations. So new pads need to be obviously ordered and mounted back here. Removal is done, or mounting is done, by undoing 2 bolts. Here is both of them. I'm just looking for a good angle. So here is one of them, and here is the other one of them, and it needs a 17 millimeter socket and the tool like this there, 17 millimeters, and of course they go through there, and they will go through there, the threaded surface there and there. And of course the bolts need to be torqued to specifications. I'm gonna have to phone the manufacturer, the dealer, and just ask about the torque specifications, because I don't want to guess it. But I'm gonna put it in this video's description below. Now, for mounting the pads in the caliper, this is the caliper body. Mounting is fairly straightforward. Kind of match the shapes, how they are meaningfully fitting. Of course everything is dirty and you're gonna need gloves, which I don't have, so I can at the moment, so I can press the buttons on the camera. And yes, as I move my head, sorry about the light is changing, whatever. So that's one of them fitted there on that side, and the other one needs to be fitted this way on this side, just like so. Okay, so the brake pads now are mounted almost correctly. There. Okay, now it's mounted correctly. So I'm gonna take the bolts out, one and the other there, so I can put the caliper back in place, and with a little bit of fiddling there, this should just slide back in place like so. The bottom is in, the top will be in when I have two hands on it and fitted it back in place. Put the two bolts back and tighten them to specified torque. Very straightforward. So that's what causes the brake rotor to squeal. If you allow the brake pads to wear, the hardness of those rivets, the rivet shanks, the rivets are made of iron, the brake pad is made of an abrasive material, is meant to wear away, but the iron pins poking through the pad material will make a groove in the brake rotor here. So far so good. There isn't a detectable groove here, but if you do wear a groove into the surface of this, then this needs to be replaced for another $100 and something, whatever, dollars for money. Okay, and this rotor, it's not rocket science to remove the rotor. Once you take the wheel off, of course, the rotor itself pops off. You know, these lug nuts are to be removed with the wheel. So there, the rotor itself removes this easily, but it's completely unnecessary to damage the rotor. It also has a minimum thickness, which seems to be 15.4 millimeters for the thickness of the rotor measured this way, and not at the edge here where it's thicker, here where it's worn. Okay, so that's how this works. These are the holes in the suspension here where the bolts come through to mount the caliper, and the bolts will go in there and there. Okay, with the rotor in place, everything fits together. It's not rocket science. Okay doke. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you very much for watching.